Hi there, do you want to make an animation meme? Well, now you can with this simple guide. Side note, this video will go over these topics along with timestamps. If you're looking for something specific, feel free to skip ahead. Happy creating! Let's begin with what you will be using to make your animation. You will need a drawing app, an animation app, an editing software, and finally music. You can use whichever of these apps are comfortable for you on any device. However, these are some of the most common apps I've seen used for each category. During this video, you will see me use these apps. Keep in mind that you don't have to use every technique shown here, depending on how you create your animation memes. It's really up to your creative process, and we'll be going over each so you get the full idea. The first step in any animation meme is finding the right music, either by choosing a snippet of a song you like or getting inspired by already existing animation memes. To start this, your best bet is to go onto YouTube and search animation memes and see which ones inspire you the most. Once you pick your animation meme, you now need to extract the audio so you can use it during the animation process. There are many ways to do this. The simplest ways are screen recording the music or using Audacity. There's also the illegal way, if you know you know. Disclaimer, if you decide to use this method, I am not responsible for getting fired for this. No one recommends you do this. Always be cautious and stay safe. Now that we have our music, let's work on the part everyone forgets about, backgrounds. Backgrounds can add so much to the composition of a piece. Also, do you ever notice how animation memes always have those black borders to emphasize framing? It's very simple. Open a drawing app of choice, then find the mirror tool. Then use a ruler to draw two horizontal or vertical lines. This is up to you. A quick tip is to actually make them bigger than the intended framing, so if you want to move them, you have the room to do so. This is a personal preference. Duplicate your framing, then blur them to give your bars some much-needed depth. Finally, make sure your two bars are on separate layers and have transparent backgrounds. That way, in your editing software, you can put your intended background behind it. In order to move the framing, open an editing or animation software of choice, and keyframe the two black bars to create movement in sync with the music. Let's move on to our actual backgrounds now. Depending on the scene you're making, you can either draw or animate the background. Here's an example of a hand-drawn animation I made in the past, done in full of a clip. If you want an animated background, you can use an editing app such as alight to create certain effects in the video. I'm going to show you how to make a moving checkerboard effect, but if you want to learn other effects, you can check out these videos. To start off, open alight and choose a high-resolution project. This way we can get rid of the watermark without worrying about our project being ruined. Next, choose a shape. It doesn't matter for this method since it's going to be a checkered anyways, and change the color to your desired one. Next, scale the shape to the desired size. I forgot to do this until later, as you can see in the video. Now on to everyone's favorite part, character animation. This section is so specific to how you're making your meme that I can't give you exact step-by-step instructions, but I can give you concepts. For starters, if you're mimicking a certain style or animation used in an animation meme, such as how everyone used the cardboard effect in the Sinking Town meme, you should probably reference like crazy and see what other animators do. But as always, remember to give credit when credit is due. The most important part of making an animation of any character is having a base. So you should probably make a simple sketch or a rough draft before you make your finished animation. This not only makes your animation process faster, but it also makes it easier to follow. The two types of animation used in animation memes are tweening and hand-drawn animation. Tweening is a lot like puppetry, as each individual part is on different layers, and you move it accordingly in usually an editing app, because animation apps often tend to struggle with tweening, whereas hand-drawn animation is drawing every individual frame over and over again, which is a lot more time-consuming, but it creates a specific style that is often very appealing. I personally like hand-drawn animation more, but both have their perks, and you are allowed to use both if necessary, since don't limit yourself to one or the other, as you can use both when needed. Anyways, for hand-drawn animation, I recommend you watch this video by Alan Becker if you are new to animation or simply want to learn your fundamentals. Tweening requires you to fully understand which parts you want to move before you start animating. As such, certain pieces need to be drawn on different layers, like I said before, while staying on separate to create believable and smooth animation. Often with training, you still need to draw full sections, as you can't just draw the part that's seen as it's going to move. So you need to make sure there's still drawing behind the piece. If you want, example, the hair to flow, you need to draw the full parts of the hair. You want to consider where your character is going to be in regards to the background, and make sure there's not too many things going on in your scene, as you want your audience to focus on your character or whatever you think is most important in a specific point in your animation. And my final second point for this would be make sure your animation matches your audio as well as your background so it stays consistent. The final section I'm going to discuss in this guide is edit. I'm going to talk about titles and warnings first for your animation memes, depending on the context of what you're portraying in your meme. You should probably add warnings in your title or before your animation starts. This can be included with the title, or it can be separate, or I've often seen little icons, which I think is the best way to display what's going on in your meme, basically. For topics such as flashing lights, blood, swearing, and other explicit content, be sure to add the proper warnings. And for your title card, you should try to make your intro stand out, as this is what often people will see first and make them interested in your animation. I often personally find hand-drawn titles more appealing, but you can use a text font if you think it's fitting for your meme. You should also consider that using the title card as a thumbnail, or if you're going to use a specific image from your animation for the thumbnail, as you want something attention-grabbing and what people are going to want to click on. As a reminder, don't forget your watermark, because you want to ensure your art isn't stolen, especially in this day and age with all the AI and people tracing all those fun things. So add a watermark anywhere. It doesn't matter where. Add it in your art. Okay. And finally, we have collected all the pieces to create an animation. Now you can put it all together. This can be done in an editing app. This can also be done if you just made it all in one animation app. You can just export that and post it on YouTube. And like I said in the beginning, you don't have to use all these steps. It's simply a guide and with examples for how you can make your animation. And that's about it. Yeah, that's all I have to say about this.